Twitch right now, but let's just get straight into it. Welcome everyone everywhere. Yes, welcome everyone everywhere to another installment of the Elite Thinking Club. I'm Chris, Jules, Julien, joined tonight by my co-hosts Liz Barker and Michael Houchen. Guys, good?
Always good, especially when we see you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I need you guys today. I really appreciate it. We've switched our podcast to bi-weekly, which means every 2 weeks now. So reason being, obviously life is getting a lot more harder than it was when we first started 2 years ago. Right now it's just becoming so demanding with life and everything, from where we live currently in the UK, with everything going on with the strikes, and well, basically our country's going into a little bit of a meltdown. So we are, like everyone else, fighting harder and harder to just survive, and not just survive, obviously create a future that is better. So if you're living like we're living right now and we got something in common right now, then just let us know, hit us in the comments and we'll talk about it. Not a problem. So if you haven't done so already as well, check us out on the YouTube. We are we're on the YouTube.
That was a real
I literally felt like he'd broken, and I thought, we're gonna have to step in and say something in a sec. And then he was like laughing. I was like, he's not pranking, he's pranking us.
I love that. Yeah, that pause for effect. That had everyone on their seats. Like, what's he gonna say? Right. So yeah, if you haven't done so already, head over to our YouTube as well. Check out some of our previous episodes. I think you'll absolutely love them. We talk about all sorts of different stuff, from like gender equality, all the way to police brutality, all the way to unknown mysteries of, you know, what you call them, conspiracies, all the way through to horoscopes, all the way through to things like we tap into religion, we tap into veganism, we tap into you know, masculine versus feminine energy, loads of different things that we talk about here on this channel. So if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. You know what to do, you know how to do it. I ain't got to say no more. But what can you expect from tonight's episode? Tonight's installment, we're gonna be talking about police brutality, to be fair. I know, Michael, you want to bring to the table something that's been on your radar recently, so we're going to explore that. Liz, I know that you've got something for us later on in the episode, and looking forward to that. Don't know what it is, but bring it when you're ready. But the first thing I want to tap into tonight is about the death rate on the COVID vaccine. Now, I know some people might be a bit sensitive to this topic, and it's fine. Like, I totally get it. But I just wanted to highlight something from Dr. John Campbell, who is also a YouTuber who posts a lot on basically the government and like what they're not doing right, what they could be doing better and things like that. But he always posts things from others just so it doesn't come from him. He's just highlighting to you what's going on. So one of the things that he's shown recently is that you are 1 in 800 times more likely to die from getting a COVID vaccine than from COVID itself. COVID itself, it's just been exposed, right? COVID itself, it was like 1 in 11,000 or more. That was what the numbers they were given. 1 in 11,000, right? Those were the odds of death due to COVID. But when you have been vaccinated, the odds are 1 in 800.
Yes,
so it's fucking insane. But think about this: like, if you were to roll the dice, like, given the choice, given the stats now, knowing the answers now, knowing the stats, would you just say fuck it? I'd rather take my chances on COVID, like us three did. I know we did immediately say fuck that. I'll take my chances. I even said it live on an episode. I'd take my chances on COVID than get that vaccine. And I just want to repeat those numbers just in case you didn't hear me. I will say it again. You have a 1 in 11,000 chance of death from getting COVID, but you have a 1 in 800 chance of death from getting the vaccine.
And you do realize, Jules, that 1 in 800 statistic, that 800 number will be lower come the next quarter of the statistic in the data.
Right.
So each day each week where we're having these excess deaths, and when they link it, which a lot of them, there's only a small percentage that have actually been linked to the COVID vaccine. There's been a lot of cover-ups. So actually that number will actually...
Right. And this is it, right? So I'm at a stage, right, in life where I observe a lot of things, just stay, not stay silent, so to speak, but just observe. And I'm like, why are we not getting pissed off about this? Why are we not fuming about this? Why are we not rallying up and getting together and saying this is a fucking crime against humanity, like you said in the past, Liz? Because it is. Like,
it is.
if anyone was to say to you, take this vaccine because it's going to cure you from something or protect you from something, and have it so made out to be the cure, when in actual fact, what they're giving you is a 1 in 800 chance of living if you take it. You wouldn't roll those dice, not if you knew that there's a 1 in 11,000 chance of not taking it, you're going to die. If in actual fact, you probably got more chance of dying from getting hit by a bus than you do from getting COVID. Like, as far as stats go, you know?
Yeah, and it's mental. I think it's because when they first started it, they were like, it's 99% effective, and then it was 95% effective, then 90, and it went all the way down to about 40% effective. It's like, if you had told us 40% at the start, everyone would have gone, nah, fuck that, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, exactly.
But because they started off at 99.
A lot of us did take our chances. I know that you two are with me on this when I said, fuck that, I'm not putting anything in my body, because for some reason, I don't know if I'm tapped in spiritually or whatever, something was telling me and screaming at me, just don't do that. Don't do it. Plus, also the conspiracy side of me was telling me, you can't trust these governments anyway. We've done episodes on it where, you know, we're very aware that the government or whoever, I don't even want to call it the government, to be fair. Now I'm starting to realize that some people in the government are actually innocent. They don't actually have a lot of say or a lot of, like, they're not, what are they, not in the secret circles or whatever it is, the ruling elites or whatever it is. But yeah, it was definitely, it's definitely highlighted to me just how important it is that you pay attention. And when I say pay attention, I mean peep the game. How do I mean that? Basically, I was at a family dinner the other day, right? My grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary. Fucking love my grandparents. Can't believe they're alive that long. They're 86 now, but it was their 60th wedding anniversary. And that's something that, you know, it's just unheard of these days, really, especially our generations. And basically, one of my cousins said something about brushing teeth. It got brought up in conversation. I said to her, do you brush your teeth with hot water? And she said, no, who does that? I said, I do that. And she said, why? And I said, well, do you wash your dishes with cold water? And she said, no. And I said, why? She goes, because I'm cleaning them. And I said, so what's the difference with your teeth? Like, now I know hot water and cold water taps got different pH or whatever the fuck it is inside it, but it was just laughable. It was funny. And she goes, my dentist told me to do this, this, and this. And I said, your dentist told you to do this, this, and this because you are at a prime age where you are a returning customer. If the dentist fixes your teeth, you're not coming back. Right. So it's in his best interest to make sure that you are going to come back. Otherwise, he's out of business. She never looked at it like that. She never thought of it like that. But the thing is, people are so naive to trust people in those positions. And you need to question. You need to definitely make sure that you're peeping the game. You need to see it. Hi, Amanda, I see you. You get me? It's like I had this friend that was a physio. When I was a soldier, I was a PTI. So I had a lot of soldiers that were in the rehab. When they were in the rehab, they'd go to the physio. And the physio said to me, do me a favor, don't heal them too quick. And I was like, what? And he said, well, if you heal them too quick, I'm out of work. And I was like,
there you go.
Fuck, you know. You know what I'm saying? So always pay attention to that. You've got to pay attention to that. Peep the game. People who are, you know, giving you these vaccines and give you this medication and, you know, trust me, I'm a doctor. Fuck you. Like, no, I'm not sorry. I'm getting rallied up, a little bit upset today. I've had a bit of one of those days, by the way. Just to the people watching, I've had one of those days. But just pay attention. Pay attention. People who are in positions like that, they might not have your best interest at heart. Michael, just turn down the sensitivity of your mic, please, my friend. It's just a little bit white noisy. Thank you, man. The only reason I asked that, guys, is because we're now actually on podcast channels. So we've got Anchor podcast set up. We've got Spotify podcast. We've got the there's another Apple podcast as well. So you can listen to episodes on those channels now, as well as our Twitch.
While you're driving in your car?
Yes. Cheers.
Anywhere you're going, you can listen to us.
Man, I talk way too much.
Anywhere you go.
That's good.
Yeah, I just get too passionate about it. I'm starting to get fuming. Why are we not getting angry about it?
Oh, Jules, this is you are literally speaking from my mind and my heart right now, because
I mean, how long has it been though? It's been like fucking 2.5, 3 years now.
I sounded like a crazy person.
It's hard to keep this angry for this long.
Like a crazy person this whole time, because, you know, like I'm like yourself, passionate about it, and people are like, oh well, it's done now, and I'm like, but it's not done. And you're right, they are not going to heal you because they want repeat custom. Big Pharma creates customers for life. The prescriptions that are, do people, this is what I don't get as well. If you go into a restaurant and somebody you ordered something and somebody put in front of you a plate full of maggots, you wouldn't eat it. You wouldn't eat it. You'd be like, what's that?
Are they flavoured?
Why? What? No. Why don't people, when they get prescribed a drug, they have so much trust in that doctor and in that person prescribing them the drug? When they actually go home, they just pop the pills, put the medicine in, give the medicine to their children, what have you. No one actually looks at what's inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like, you're trusting to put that thing in your body, but and it baffles me. Absolutely, we've just become so
like, again, like going in on what you just said there, Liz, like the institutions that create the stamp of approval to give these people jobs, whether you know this or not, a lot of these institutions are funded by Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Right. So if you don't do what they say, i.e. like the schooling system, they are indoctrinated from young to believe that what you are studying and what you are being taught to keep teaching is the truth, when the truth is not that. There are people out there that we've talked about in previous episodes. For example, Dr. Sebi, who has died like out of nowhere, disappeared from the face of the earth simply because he was teaching people about alkali and acidity in the human body. If you change your diet a certain way, you will create a more alkaline state. Now, we've spoke about this in previous episodes where if the human body is more alkaline than it is acid, bacteria, germs, and diseases and cancers cannot survive in the body because the host will not host that germ, bacteria, disease, cancer. Work surface spray, Dettol. If you spray the work surface, it kills 99.9% of bacteria, germs, and diseases. Why is that? Because it's pure alkali. Now, I'm not saying go and drink a whole fucking bottle of bleach. That's not what I'm saying. But there are definitely medicines out there, natural herb remedies, natural foods that you can eat that create the same effect. But your doctor's not going to teach you that, because then they lose what they've worked so hard innocently believing is the truth, but it ain't the truth.
Isn't it crazy that there's these doctors go to university, they do their training, they come out and they literally walk into a system that they are basically, it is a money system. It is where they walk into a system for Big Pharma and they literally are fun. They are just, it's going round and round and round the money making machine. Prescribe, Big Pharma, Big Pharma, Big Pharma. Customers. Whereas if they actually at university were taught to teach people about health and fitness, their patients about holistic medicine, herbal medicine, how your food is your medicine, and how getting out and doing certain things and exercises can actually, improve your mental health, where you don't need an antidepressant. If they did that, they wouldn't be in a monetary system of Big Pharma. Think about it. But that's why when they do their training, they go by these textbooks. Oh, if somebody comes in with this ailment, you prescribe them this drug. Then, although that will fix that ailment, something in that drug will also cause another problem in a different area of their body. And then they'll come back as a customer for that. And then we do give them a pill for that. And then that will trigger something else in their body. And we basically have customers for life. And that is that.
I had a customer the other day, and he spoke to me. He was an old gentleman, and he's lost his wife, and he's got, I don't want to tell his life, but he's in a position now where he's very alone. Anyway, I took the time out of my day just to listen to this man speak. And the reason why I do that is hopefully one day when I'm his age, there'll be a young man like me who wants to listen to what I have to say. So anyway, I'm giving this guy my time. And one of the things that he said was, I went to the doctors the other day. Do you know one of the first things they ask you when you go into the doctors? They ask how old you are. And I said, why? And he said, I'll tell you why. They want to know whether or not I'm worth their time. I told them my true age of 78. They're just like, oh, you're going to die in 4 or 5 years. There's no point me investing my time. There's no point me giving you drugs, because he didn't want to know. However, I didn't tell him my age. And then he's got more of an interest, because if I was, say, like 50, he's thinking, right, awesome, I've got 30 years customer here. Do you know what I mean? And when the old man told me that, it peeped. You got to peep the fucking game. Like, I'm at a point where I'm so angry that no, I'm not angry. That's not fair. I'm getting passionate about it. Like, we're in a position where we have to free the others. Not a lot of people think like we think, and it's really important that we get the message to them quickly, and it's for their best interest. Like, I'm not trying to preach, I'm not trying to shove it down your neck, but there are things out here that we have to start talking about, that we cannot be silent about. On my TikTok feed, I'm flicking through it, and it's constant good shit. Like, don't get me wrong, it's constant funny stuff, it's constant what's going on good in someone's life, the highlight reel and all that, because no one's talking about the shit stuff. No one is coming out screaming about the reality that there is so much going on right now, like that we shouldn't be turning a blind eye to it. Right? We need to peep it, we need to see it, and we need to flipping talk about it and spread the news about it. Like, we have an obligation to save each other. Yeah, we must. Like, it's that time now, because the whole reason why we started the Elite Thinking Club initially was because of the pandemic. Soon as it started happening, everyone thought the world was coming to an end. I actually thought, oh, fuck, this is it. And it is it. It is it. But they keep using things and doing things to distract us from the truth. If we're constantly pointing fingers at others, we're not pointing fingers at the bigger issue here. And the bigger issue here is our freedom.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Exactly what you just said.
It's heartbreaking, you know? They will try everything. They will try every single trick in the book. One of the biggest tricks in the book.
In our water, what they put in our food, what they put in the medicines and the prescriptions. You know, it's, you know, how they allow alcohol to be sold on the shelves, but you're not allowed, you know, psychedelics or
cannabis.
You know, cannabis or plant medicine. You know,
even the hemp plant.
Yeah, anything that we could grow at home that they can't tax us on and that they can't control, we're not allowed. Anything they can control and tax us on, oh, you can have it, and you can intoxicate yourselves with it, and you can become customers, you know, because they benefit from that.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube. Sorry, Michael, you want to say something?
No.
Sorry, I thought you was about to say something. TikTok. Okay. Yeah, shout out to some of the viewers on TikTok right now. I see you, Truth Seeker. I see you, Lollipop. I see you. I thought Amanda was there to start. Yeah, I see you guys. Like, bless up. I see you. Yeah, one of the things I was watching the other day on YouTube was, and YouTube, by the way, is probably going to be one of the best things that we have right now. I even see some of the mainstream news media trying to get in on it because they realize that people don't want to pay attention to the mainstream news on the television anymore. They just want to go on YouTube and get some real fucking facts. They want to follow people like who I mentioned, Dr. John Campbell. They want to follow people like us here at the Elite Thinking Club because we're the ones that are actually having the conversations that they want to hear, not turn them on the TV and seeing just, you know, what do they call it? The mind numbing bullshit, the BS. Do you know what I'm saying? They'll hit you. Yeah, they'll hit you with about 90% bad news and then just like hit it at the end with 10% good news with some weird shit like, oh, and here's one of the pandas from the zoo in Korea where they've now given birth to this panda pet bear. It's like, how the fuck does that affect us in the UK right now with the fucking cost of living crisis as well as all the strikes that are going on and all that stuff? Talk about that shit. Like, why are you not addressing that? Anyway, about some panda in the flipping zoo. I don't even agree with zoos. Half the population don't even agree with zoos. Even when we were kids watching the film Free Willy, that kid was trying to free that fucking orca whale.
I was with him. I was like, yes, come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not
I personally like zoos.
What's that, Michael?
Out there. I said I personally like zoos, but I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, but you understand, Michael, that an orca whale does not belong in a fucking cage.
No, but the problem is a lot of animals have been saved from an extinction because of zoos. So
have they though, or is that just
they have? No, they have. There's a couple of lions that were going to be extinct, but because they had them in zoos, they got them back to a good population, and then they were able to release them.
You shouldn't release animals that have been institutionalized into the wild. That is a very dangerous thing to do. What we should do is just protect them in the wild.
They wasn't being protected in the wild.
Why can't we do
needed
habitats?
Because there's arseholes out there who want to fucking kill them for their fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why there's the war, like, you know, like the sea shepherds. Shout out to the sea shepherds. There are, you know, the poacher protect, like the people that kill the poachers. But the thing is, this is also a thing as well, like humans, not that we can save everyone, but there's a large majority of them who are not healed. They have been born and indoctrinated into a system where they think that what they've been taught is correct. You get a little boy, right? Show me the 7-year-old, I'll show you the man. You get a little boy and you tell him every day that Tottenham Hotspur are the best team in the world. Yeah? Isn't that right, son? Yeah, that's right, Dad. Best team in the world, son. Tottenham, Dad. Yeah. You say that to him enough, yeah, he will grow up with a deep-seated conviction that that is true. We all know that's not fucking true. Not saying I've got anything against Tottenham and that, but they don't perform too great. The fact of the matter is, though, that boy is so fucking he repeats it. I went to church the other day. Like I said, my grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary, and they wanted to go to church. I respect my grandparents. I love my grandparents. I'm not going to flip and disrespect them and not turn up. So I went there. Not going to lie to you, reading some of the fucking stuff and listening to it. Don't get me wrong. Spiritual side of me, I understood it. I took the metaphors. I, made my own sense of it. But some of those hymns and some of those words that they're talking about, it's just repeat to the point where you're not even giving your own words of manifestation. You're not even giving your own words of creation. You are literally just reading from a book, getting told to stand, getting told to sit, getting told to kneel, getting told to pray and beg for forgiveness of something that doesn't even, I don't even want to go into it, right? I don't even want to go into it. But this is the same system. I remember going to school. I was raised in a Catholic school, banging out Christmas bangers, like banging out, even Christmas bangers, but, hymns of songs that if I had stuck to that enough, lucky I broke free, but if I had stuck to that enough, I would have been deep-seated conviction to something that wasn't even my own thoughts. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have my own mind and I have to observe my situation and hit the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's what I'm getting passionate about tonight, man. Fuck. Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Yeah, never apologize for being passionate.
No.
Yeah, but sometimes it can come across like this guy's just ranting. He's not even really talking. But
it's all good.
Yeah. I get real passionate about the food that people eat as well. Like, I'm trying to help people, but I can't do it by telling them anymore. Beyond that stage, it's like you can only show, and only when they're ready to really test the water, if you will. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I had someone tell me the other day, like, I can't believe you eat kiwi fruit. What do you mean? Like the skin? You eat the skin? Yeah, I eat the skin.
Yeah, it's good for you.
I eat the skin. What, are you mad? I'm like, have you ever done it? Have you ever tried it? Nah. Then fucking try it. Like, you're supposed to, And you're looking at me all confused and baffled, like it's some sort of like mystery or wonder. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, said who? Said who? I've been fucking vegan now for nearly coming up to 4 years and I'm still alive. Like, I'm not dead yet. And people before were like, nah, man, you're going to die, man. You have to live like this, this, and this. And I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to force it down your neck, but you need to understand something very, 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 very quickly. When you choose to just observe things, you will find that a lot of people who are unhealthy are due to choices of diet, all right? Just be aware. Just peep it, see it, understand it, and then do something about it. We need to free the others, is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you need to do everything that I say. That ain't true. But what I am trying to explain is you've got a very powerful mind, and to open it is the key to our freedom. It's just freedom, It's all about mindset in regards to life, man. For example, we're talking about these ruling elites and how they've mastered the art of controlling the masses, because it only takes 3% of a population to have a conscious shift, and that will change society's view on things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it weren't too long ago in the UK when society was allowed to smoke in pubs, allowed to smoke in clubs, allowed to be on a bus, on a plane, on a train and smoke. I grew up playing football. On a Sunday, my dad would take me to the pub that used to sponsor our team, Eddie's Bar. And we used to play pool, and all the lads would get together, and the dads would get together and drink. And there was a cloud of smoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thick cloud of smoke. And we was running around that like little 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. It's like none the wiser. To think of that now, right? Think about it. Like, people would be, I don't know, how else can I explain it?
It'd be weird, wouldn't it? It'd be weird now if you see when I go to another country and see people smoking in places, indoors, it's just like, this is mental.
It's abnormal now, because
for real.
The time
I grew up with it.
The habit and the concept of it has been we've adjusted into a new habit and a new way of thinking towards it. And now if someone were to spark up a cigarette in a pub, they'd probably be like the amount of people that get out, whereas before they wouldn't bat an eyelid.
No. And there's children there. Like, if I had my friend come around my house and was like, yo, meet my new baby girl or meet my new baby boy or whatever, it's a little baby with little tiny lungs, right? I'm not going to spark a cigarette with that child. You know why? Because we're educated now.
Mm-hmm.
We're very aware of what damage that is doing to that young person. And that's the key as well. Education. It's not that what was we ignorant before? Was we ignorant before?
Sorry.
I think we were a little bit, yeah.
That years and years ago, there were posters of pregnant women with cigarettes, and it was, again, propaganda. They promoted that a cigarette was okay. A cigarette was good for you.
Healthy.
Yeah. So literally, and that was like years and years ago. And so people did it, and then suddenly they switched it. Obviously, we know it's not healthy, but the fact that people had it drummed into them that it was okay, that's how we became like that, where it just became in the van, in the pub, anywhere, walking wherever, kids there, babies there, doesn't matter, animals there. Think of all the dogs, you know, and then it's like,
this is my point. This is my point. So this elite thinking club that we have started, we're going to get a lot more about. We're going to get more into this. What is it that's going to set us free? And I swear to God, it is going to be education. It's going to be consciousness. It's going to be expansion of the mind. It is so fucking important, because when you look back in time and you start seeing people doing those things, fast forward 25 years, we're looking back thinking, can't believe we used to do that.
Yep.
Right. So in 25 years' time, our kids are generations that are going to look back on us and think, I can't believe they used to do that. But it is now that we do more and more and more to free the others. Because if we were ignorant back then, Lord knows how ignorant we're going to look right now in 25 years.
Well, if we don't, then what's the point? Like, then humanity is just absolutely doomed if we don't learn. And when I say from history, I mean actual history. And going back to what you said about the vaccines, about learning and being ignorant, like the whole thalidomide episode, that happened 5 years after thalidomide was administered to you know, the pregnant women. They were all told, it's safe, this is what you need, this is gonna, you know, it's fine, yep, here we go, everybody have it. All of those babies that were born deformed, all of those deaths of those children, all of the effects, the adverse reactions to thalidomide, it took 5 years for them to admit, oh, yeah, we were wrong about that. Yeah, that was actually poisonous. That was actually dangerous for you. It wasn't safe and effective. So what you just said at the beginning of this about the excess deaths and everything, and you know, we should be learning from that. And when I was saying this back in 2020 and 2021 about, you know, how they create the problem, then the solution, they did thalidomide, and if we don't learn from that, and here we are.
Exactly. And this is something to do as well. Like, they talk about forgiving and forgetting. Never forget. Never forget. There is so much history, right, that we can learn from. There is so many examples from history that we need to keep alive and take forward with us. That you know, the world is not a safe place. I understand that making children's childhoods fun and Disney-like, and let them be children, let them, you know, explore and learn. But there is a time when we all soon have to realize that we are the grown-ups, and then not only be a grown-up, be an adult. One of the hardest things is to admit that sometimes maybe they didn't know no better, your parents, and learning to forgive them is sometimes one of the things you have to do. Because I wasn't born vegan. I don't blame my parents for not, you know, doing what they did. They weren't educated. They didn't know. Do you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's like health, fitness, food, diet, like medication, you know, there's so many things that you can only, you know, unless you're open to it, will you receive it?
Exactly. And a lot of people, but they're shut off from it because of information and because of so much advertising and just habits from when we grew up. You know, what's put in front of us, we adopt that. And we, you know, Sunday roast and, you know, Chinese takeaway or what have you, we adopt those habits. So it's breaking the habits and breaking the chain of it all, really. And like you say, education is the key. Educating yourself on the food, educating yourself on medicine, educating yourself on your body and the world around you. What's true, true. If you hear something on the news, research it, look into it, find out if stats that you are being given are true. Find out if there's, you know, differentiating studies. Look into stuff. Don't just take what you're told at school or via the media as gospel, because it certainly isn't.
That's it. And a lot of people won't realize it, but as the masses, we have a lot more power than people realize. Like talking about the 3% conscious shift, that's exactly how a lot of it moves forward. That's a lot of how good things are coming about, especially when it came to like talking about the smoking thing. You know, people started smoking outside, then people stop smoking completely.
Yeah.
We done an episode right now. You know, the last episode that we did, you can watch it or listen to it on the podcast channels or on the YouTube. We talk about elf bars and how it's become a pandemic of its own, how it's completely swept over the nations, like worldwide. This thing has. Right, so just so you know, an elf bar that we mentioned in the episode has the same amount of nicotine content in it as 40 cigarettes. And some people are smoking these in a day. And I'm not saying like old people that have been smoking their whole lives. We're talking about new generations, young people who see this as a cool thing, vaping. Oh, I'm not against it. I can't say that, you know, I don't vape because I do currently. But that's because I've slipped back into a habit. But I'm trying to wean myself off of the nicotine. Going from elf bars, which are like, you know, 42 cigarettes, down to at least like a 3% nicotine vape, just to make sure that I'm not becoming addicted to the point where I can't stop. Do you get what I'm saying? And addictions again.
I didn't smoke before vaping, and now I mean, you've seen how many vapes I got now. I got like 30 just in this room.
Jeez.
Yeah. But you
and
enjoy
I'll do
it.
one of these. Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy it. I know it's bad for me. Like when we talk about like me not taking vaccines and me not doing this and that, that's because I don't want to be forced to do it. I'm not forced to vape. I do it because I enjoy it, and if I die because of it, that is my choice.
Exactly, it's your choice.
I love that you said that, Michael, actually, because one of the things that we always try and be here on this channel is unbiased. And I'm glad that sometimes you are there, Michael, just to remind myself that actually, as much and as passionate as I want to free the others, some people have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Everyone has a choice, and the choice is yours. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Michael well said, actually. I appreciate you for that. Big time. Because you're right. You can't force people. If they want to choose to do that, it's like my observation on alcohol. Alcohol, being the drug that it is the biggest killer on the planet. It kills more people in a fucking day than marijuana does in a whole fucking civilization. I don't think anyone anywhere has died from consuming marijuana.
No, I mean, there's been a few people that they've tried to say have died because of marijuana, but when they've actually looked into it, it's other stuff that went into it.
Yeah.
So
and again,
actual marijuana use to this date hasn't been responsible for any deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And this is the point I'm trying to make. Like we spoke about earlier, Liz, you touched on it, psychedelics and that. You know, priests used to take psychedelic drugs to get closer to God. It is like a gateway to the depths of spirituality. Like you will absolutely 100% meet some sort of entity that will teach you knowledge that you cannot gain on this earth, on this realm. Now, I'm saying it ain't for everyone. You have to have a very powerful mind, and you have to have a very strong belief, and you have to be able to open that mind to the possibility that you are going to see things or experience things and feelings that are not normal. Right? If you can do that, happy days. But I promise you this, out of everyone that's done it, they've all come back and said the same thing. God, Allah, whoever, some sort of universal spiritual Gaia, whoever she is or whoever he is or whatever this entity is, you will meet it. And then you'll come back and be like, yo, I died and came back and I'm changed, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it's true. Like, it is so flipping true. But if the masses were able to access this, the church would have had no power. How do you get masses, right, to adhere to the law, right, without being able to control them like you do currently? Currently, we are controlled by media. Everyone has access to a phone, and on that phone, they can just, you know, plant seeds of fear, you know, fear mongering and all that sort of stuff, propaganda. And yes, Liz, exactly. Whereas in the day, before the devices, when it was just word of mouth, people were riding horses on carts and shit, but they went to church every Sunday. That was the only way that you could keep people in line, get them fearing the unknown, get them believing in a flipping
heaven and hell.
Yeah, like there's heaven and hell. Like if you don't do this, God's will and all this shit, you are going to hell. The unknown. We don't live in that day and age anymore. No. People aren't afraid to go to hell. They actually believe they probably could be living in hell.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw a Sam Smith video the other day, Unholy.
I mean, that is hell, just that.
Yeah, like, is this actually on TV? Like this time in the day?
And kids can see that too. Woo!
Right. It's so satanic, and it's just like, are we gonna forget that? No, we're not gonna forget that. We're not gonna forget the Ghislaine Maxwell's, and we're not gonna forget the the pedo rings and the ruling elites and all that stuff that we've talked about in previous episodes. So if you haven't done so, go ahead and take a look at them, because I think you're gonna love them, especially if you're on the same sort of wave we are. But you cannot forget. Too much has happened in history for us to just think that it's just done and dusted. But here's another thing as well, which I know, Michael, you want to talk about, which I'm going to explain why it brought me onto it. But thank you so much, guys, for just being here and listening to us go in on it tonight. Shout out to some of these viewers. Girl in the Corner, Lollipop, see you. Alex, I see you. Melissa, I see you. True Seeker, I see you. Andrea, we see you. Love that. You're smashing it, guys. Thanks for being here on the TikTok live right now. Anybody on the Twitch now, Michael?
Nobody talking on the Switch. Clive says hello on the YouTube.
All right, Clive. Hey, Clive, it's been a minute. Where have you been? Keeping low, avoiding capture. That's what he's doing. He's in his little bunker.
I think he was confused that we went on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, we had to come off Facebook. You know why we had to come off Facebook, guys? Because they censored us.
No, and I got banned.
And Michael got banned. And Liz, you get banned monthly with Facebook, don't you? All the stuff you post.
Hi, darling. Oh, that's what happens when
but I got proper banned, not just like a timeout. I've been banned and I'm not able to open a new account.
Yeah, exactly. You're like the Michael Tate. No, was it Andrew? Is it Andrew Tate?
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. You're the Andrew Tate of Facebook, Michael. They took you off. They banned you. You're allowed to spread that. You're allowed to share that. And
Deeper Conscientious said, I don't trust them either when we talk about doctors.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying not to trust them. I'm pretty sure there's some out there that got a lot to say.
Out there, and there are some amazing nurses and doctors, and a lot of them, they take the Hippocratic oath and they mean it, but and they're seeing it and they're speaking out, and I absolutely salute every single doctor that has been speaking out against the corruption, crime against humanity, and the things that have been done to us that shouldn't have been done. So we're not saying that every single one that goes into that industry is bad, because they're not at all.
And
I read everything I take. So when I was in the army, they gave me some. It was like stronger ibuprofen, but they said you have to take these with it, because if you take them on an empty stomach, it messes up your stomach. And then when I read the side bits, one of the things was baldness, and I was like, yeah, I'll just eat. I'm not risking baldness.
Do you know you open a prescription? And I'm going to say this so that anyone that watches us, actually, the next time they get some form of medication, even if it's over the counter stuff, like in the shop, like just like, I don't know, Barocca or anything like that, actually insert the pamphlet inside and look up all of the side effects. There's more side effects to what you can get from it than what it actually heals.
Yeah.
Like on the front of the bottle, it will say will help with flu-like symptoms, headaches, whatever. But then you look at the side effects and you're like, but it might give you this. So
ibuprofen says signs of kidney problems such as passing less or more urine, pain in the back or swelling.
Oh my god.
Skin reactions, headache, feeling sick, being sick, fever, unconsciousness.
Exactly.
A lot of stuff.
Read the small print. Definitely.
Vomiting, blood, or dark particles that look like coffee grounds.
When you've read the pamphlet and you've skim read like all of the side effects, just go on a search engine and look up natural remedy for headache, migraine, whatever it is, flu, whatever, and then look at those ingredients and just give it a go. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, and one of the many things to remember as well is cognitive functioning. Like your brain is the first thing that everything comes from. So imagine this being a seed, right? From the seed, there are roots, right? And those roots run down the spine and they go all the way to the fingertips and the toes as well, everywhere, yeah? So that's how it works. And then that's it. All you are is a brain with eyes, yeah, and you've got this vessel that allows you to do other things. So the main thing to take care of more than anything, so I could chop your arm off, you could lose an arm, but you're still going to use this before. I mean, this is it. So cognitive function is the key. Like all the other stuff, you know, just fuel. You put it this way: you wouldn't fuel a Formula One car on regular fuel. It just doesn't happen. It will not work. But if you do start doing it, it will not perform to its best capacity. You won't perform to its best ability. So therefore, very, very important that you pay attention to what you're putting in, right? What you're consuming. And I ain't just talking food either. Talking about reading, talking about learning, talking about, there's nothing, right? So put it this way, right? Studying is shit. It takes too much energy to study. It's hard. It's very, very tough. Only a certain amount of people can study. But learning is amazing. Everyone can learn. Everybody loves learning. Learning's great. Why? Because it captures you. It's you're get into it. You're doing it. You're physically doing it. You're experiencing it, and it's there and then, and it's happening. And you're like, fuck me, I just learned something. Then, bang, yes, you did. You just learned something. Then, and that's why learning is. Yeah. So what you're consuming, pay attention, because if you're watching TikToks or Instagrams or Facebooks of bullshit, stupid media, things that you're not learning from, believe it or not, whether you know this or not, what you are consuming visually, what you are reading, you are learning, and it will have a knock-on effect.
Well, it will either dumb you down or stimulate your mind and open you up.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. And that's something else that I was really getting passionate about as well, the dumbing down. My God, when the spirit's broken, when the zest for life is gone, when people give up, when the pain outweighs the pleasure, people check out early. And it's heartbreaking, because sometimes I find myself on the brink of that. I find myself in a position where I'm thinking, what's the point? What are we doing here? Like, are people so numb, so dumb, so desensitized that they can't see what's going on? Or are they just at peace with it? They're just like, yeah, the world's fucked, but what am I going to do? I'm either going to be part of the problem or part of the solution. And it sounds to me like ignorance is bliss, Jules. So why don't you just let me get on with it?
I also think that so much programming and conditioning and dumbing down can have that effect on people. So they still have that ability in there where they could learn and they could come out of it, but they're so dumbed down that they're kind of closed off from it. We need to keep parts of our minds open. You know, you have an open mind, Michael, you do, I do, but a lot of people don't bypass all of the programming and the conditioning. And like you say, ignorance sometimes is safer. It's certainty. It's like, oh, I don't want to think too much about that because that actually scares me, or that means I've got to do something, or I've got to act on it, or I've got to prepare myself for it. And people just don't want to sometimes because...
Yeah, but this is the point I started with. You had a 1 in 11,000 chance, right, from dying from COVID, yeah? Okay, so if you didn't have a vaccine, or if you didn't do anything at all, you just kept on living, you had a 1 in 11,000 chance, right? And that was the stats that were released recently. That's we don't know, that's worldwide. That's just what was released. But you had a 1 in 800 chance of dying from COVID vaccine. So talk to me. Tell me, which scares you more? What scares you more? Like, this isn't about not facing. This is like what you just said, Liz. Yeah, talking about people getting afraid of doing anything. It's something they have to do. They have to pay attention. Yeah, pay attention, because if you're just zombie like, happy to nod your head, be ignorant, and carry on, then you've got a 1 in 800 chance of dying.
Yeah.
Where people who are paying attention, they got a 1 in 11,000 chance. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it's like survival of the fittest, isn't it? That is literally it's such a divide, and yeah, it is. You're right. You've got.
It's also a case of people being sheeple, so they just follow the crowd. Because most people I spoke to about who got the COVID jab, like the vaccine, is blah blah did it, so I did it. It's like, well, that's a fucking stupid reason to do it. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean you should just follow the crowd and do it.
A lot of people now, though, are feeling very silly because of that, because they've realised they didn't critically think, or they didn't actually think for themselves. They've realised that they were coerced and were sucked in. And a lot of people have pride, and they don't want to, and the whole ego. They don't want to admit that they were sucked in or coerced, because it makes them feel silly. And you know, we can't judge people for that, because at the end of the day, you know, they'd never dealt with that sort of. None of us had that in our lifetime, right? But what I'm now seeing is where there was fear back in 2020 for something that they didn't know about, which has now come out that they didn't actually need to fear. I'm now seeing a switch up. I'm having people come to me and saying to me, okay, Lizzie, so I've took this vaccine. I've had this because I thought I needed to go on holiday. I needed to keep my job. I needed to be able to go to, clubs or bars or whatever. And now every day I wake up, I'm absolutely petrified. I'm going to get myocarditis or I'm going to drop down dead. So it's like now they've actually got something to fear. Whereas before, they didn't really. They had 99.98% chance of having something to fear.
Yeah. And now because of that fear, they're more likely to drop down dead because they're worried.
Now they've upped their, and so now they're like, before they thought they were living in fear and that they did that, and then it was like that would take that solution that the government brought to them and coerce them into having would take that fear away. Again, it was like a psychological thing, wasn't it? It was a complete psychological operation. And now they've got that in them, and all of these things are happening. And you're right, Jules, we go on social media, we can't get away from it. All these things are coming up. People are seeing all of the died suddenly, the excess death rates, and
anybody who had that vaccine or 1 or 2 jabs, 3 jabs, anybody who's been vaccinated, you should be fucking fuming right now. You've got something in your body that has increased the chance of heart failure by 5 times. Your veins are now inflamed. Is that correct? Not inflamed. What's the thing that ibuprofen has the opposite for?
Inflammatory.
That's it, inflammatory. So basically, we did an episode on this. I even posted the video link to this. I said it. I did Dr. John Campbell. He's the one that talked about it. Basically, the stats came out to prove that all vaccinated are now in danger of suffering from inflamed hearts. Like their hearts will be inflamed and it will fail. Now, I'm not trying to fear you. I'm not trying to put you into a state of fear. But what I am trying to do is spark something in you that gets you angry enough to turn around and say, where the fuck's my compensation, or where the fuck's the apology, or what the fuck's going on with the government? Because you can't start reeling out things like that. You can't start making people take these vaccines unknowingly, because it wasn't even like they do in the paracetamol. Have a little booklet inside that says, by the way, when you take this, the side effects could be this, this, and this. There was none of that. There was none of that. But had you known, you probably wouldn't have took it. Hence why a lot of us didn't take it. And there's probably people watching us right now like, I didn't take it. Now, I'm not saying that we're some sort of smart people and we should be sanctimonious about it. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is pay attention now, because you were fooled before. You know what I'm saying? And I know the saying, Liz, you say it to me before, like it's easier to fool someone than it is to convince them that they've been fooled.
It is true. But also, we don't want to spark fear in people, because I have got people close to me who have had it and they are now like, that is worrying them. And I've got friends that didn't take it, but their partners did, or their family members did. And they're worrying about them. It doesn't do you any good waking up every day worrying and stressing about it. What you need to do is learn how to sort of cleanse your body, keep yourself healthy, keep yourself fit. We're not trying to make people scared or start freaking out, because that's not what we want to do. We want to just spark in people to open their minds, look into things, research, keep themselves healthy, keep themselves fit, and be aware of that this has been done to you. And not allow it to happen again, not allow our governments to think that they can use us and do whatever they want and take our body autonomy and think that they can coerce us into having a medical treatment that isn't even a vaccine, and put that in our body and
the thing is as well, I can't believe that what's the hardest thing to believe is that there's so many people like us out there who don't actually realize how many of us there are that see and read between the bullshit. We are seeing it all the time, but they feel so alone. And that's important, to flood your media with open-minded content. It's so important to pay attention to those that are on the same wave as you, just so you don't get sucked into the bullshit. There are going to be zombies walking around. I call it the fluoride stare. I see them all the time, walking up and down the high street and that, completely oblivious to what's going on, or just so numbed down. They even talk slow. They talk slow, and their vocabulary is nil. Like it breaks my heart. Like it's like you have so much capacity to be more, but because you've been born into a system that has indoctrinated you from youth, like when you've gone to school and you've been taught the basics, and the basics were just to create workers, and then those workers just go 9 to 5 for the last 40 years doing the same thing over and over. Where the hell is your creation? Where is your manifestation? Where is your ability to think? You had that as a child. You know, they call it the growth and fixed mindset. There's a lady called Dweck. She made a very good book called Mindset. It's a fucking great book. And she talks about fixed and growth mindset. So when you're a child, you have growth mindset, whether you like that or not, it's happening. You see other people walking and you think, I'm going to walk. You see other people riding a bike. You say, I'm going to ride a bike, given your ability, of course. And then you see people, you know, drawing, writing, singing, dancing, climbing, swimming, jumping, just doing all these things. And as a child, it sparks your growth mindset. You know how you know you've got it? When you're a child and you see a baby and they're starting to, you know, learn to crawl, yeah, they fall down, they get up again, they fall down, they get up again, and they keep doing it until they achieve the goal. Yeah. Something happens to adults when they start getting taught by other fucking adults. You can't do that. No, can't have that, can't afford that. Those words of negativity start to impact it. Back to what I was talking about, the kid that, show me the 7-year-old, I'll show you the man. Tottenham are the best team in the world. Yeah, they are, Dad. Yeah, they are. You say that enough, you got deep-seated conviction. People start talking poor words of poverty. People start talking words of negativity. People start flooding you with that shit. Next thing you know, you're now in a fixed mindset condition. You can't break free. You can't break the matrix. You're stuck in this state. And the worst thing about it, a lot of people just submit to it. You know, and we can't. They're the ones that are just like, government got to do what they say. Fucking hell, you don't realize that they're supposed to work for you.
Yes, we are not.
Same sort of thing. Neil deGrasse Tyson talking the other day said he never ever stops his kid, like, to a certain point, but like if his child picks up a cup and knocks it on the floor, he says they don't have a go at them about it because to them that's an experiment. They've seen what happens, cause and effect.
Yeah.
But if you stop them from doing that, they'll stop trying things in life. Yeah.
I had a girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. Something happened. She spilt something, and I just said to her, "Oh, what happened there?" And she got all freaked out. She was just like, "You're not mad?" I said, "No, why would I be mad? Gravity exists." And she just nearly cried. And I was like, what were you doing? She goes, "No, because like, I just can't believe you reacted like that. Like no one's ever reacted to that like that." And I said, "But it does exist. Things fall down. That's what's supposed to happen, ain't it?" You knocked it, it fell down. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? And she just grew up in a household where she would have been told off for that, you know, or something. I don't know, but it was just mad.
Yeah, no, I love these conversations because it makes me think back to like when, you know, things have happened in my life, and I just think it is really interesting, and it is important actually that we notice these things and that we stop ourselves from doing it to the next generation, and that we're mindful of our thoughts, our words, and like our reactions, especially our reactions to stuff, because they're always learning around us, the younger generation.
Yeah, and they are like sponges. And you know what else? We need to get out their way because they see a world that they need to fix. And too many fixed mindsets of old generations are in their way. You know, and it's a hard thing to accept, but it's true. There was a great saying from someone that I can't remember who it was, but I read it once, and he said something about the learned in a world that no longer exists, something like that. I can't remember what it is, man. Something like education for the free, freedom from education. Oh, I forget what it was. Basically, in essence, it meant keep learning, because an educated person, something about the learned will inherit a world that no longer exists. Something, I'll have to flip and find it, and I'll do it on the next episode. But basically, what he was highlighting was the world is constantly evolving and changing. If you are in a state of evolve and change with it, you will be absolutely fine. But if you are born in the 1980s and you've got the flipping mindset stuck in the millennium, then you're in 2023 now. You know what I mean? You are left behind. You are trying to operate in a world that no longer exists. And that resistance right now is where we're finding ourselves. That's why Greta Thunberg is so shut down by older generations, because they're like, what is she going on about? And she's like, I'm like, get out of her way. You know, what's it going to take for you to listen to this young lady? Like, get out of her way. She's doing something that you guys couldn't fix. in actual fact, she's trying to fix what you guys created. Now, we're not ungrateful.
I don't agree with that, but that's my opinion.
What, on Greta Thunberg? Like,
yeah, I think she's just a paid sort of shill puppet. Like, I think that yeah. I've seen some things recently, and she's
cool. That's cool. No, I'm with you, Liz. Truth Seeker says she's with you, Liz, and Liz, I appreciate where you're coming from on that, because that's going to bring me onto something in a sec. I do appreciate it.
Like, you do realize that, she's not, like, well, in my opinion, no, I don't believe that she is all that we're being programmed to believe.
Okay. But my point was, younger generations are coming through with new innovation, and they see the world's problems and they want to do something about it. But there's a lot of older generations and a lot of industries that have been set up in the past that are very aware and very protective of their idea. For example, oil companies and industries. Doesn't make sense for younger generation, or it's not even anything new. Christ's sake, the electric car has been around for flipping ages. It's not a new concept. There's even cars that can run on water. But for the interests of these oil companies, they need cars that run on petrol. It's a fact. They cannot allow their industries to fail. So they're very now well protected. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's almost like the big pharma. They'll kill Dr. Sebi's.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want people knowing the truth about human health.
They don't want cures and things, especially when they can't make money from it, because we can naturally go and pick it in the forest, or we can make it ourselves, or we can implement better health regimes and food intake, of course.
Yeah. But then again, a lot of people will be like, okay, so you're all about highlighting the problem, but what are the solutions? That's the key.
Yeah.
Because the human mind is designed to come up with solutions.
Yeah.
Necessity creates innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you are working in the fields all day and then you find a way that halves the work time or halves the workload, of course, along comes a tractor. Boom. Definitely faster than a horse and an ox and cart. Do you know what I'm saying? But then if that tractor is causing problems because of the emissions, and it starts to create this bigger problem, then we need to get rid of it. New innovation comes in. And that's why I believe younger generations are better at that, because they see things with fresh eyes. Sometimes old people are like that, but the tractor works fine. If it ain't broke, it's not broke. But if I took a brick to your house, if I took a hammer to a brick in your house every day, 1 brick per day, you won't be saying that in about 90 days when I've knocked out 90 bricks. And the longer you keep doing that, you won't have a house left. And that's what I was trying to get at with the whole Greta Thunberg and protection of the earth and all that sort of shit. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do get
it might not seem like an immediate problem now, but long term, we'll have no home left. Yeah, man. Fuck's sake. But talking about paid activists, Liz, very well said. That can actually lead me on to something that I know, Michael, that you want to talk about tonight. So, guys, I hope you don't mind if the episode goes over an hour.
Well, because my headset's going to die before we finish, and I don't want to rush it. So I think also more stuff is coming out on it. I'll give you a few highlights of it. So this guy that got murdered by police, Tyler Nichols, he was killed by 5 black police officers. So that's all. That's what I thought it was at first. I was going to say that's all I thought it was first. It's bad enough as it is, but it turns out that he actually was with one of the guy's exes,
right?
Like one of the copper's exes.
So
at the moment, it's looking like it was a hit and not a fucking just a.
It was premeditated.
Brutality. Yeah, so it's looking at a little bit like that. But until that comes out, I don't really want to talk about that too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Because there's still more coming out.
All the facts and evidence, definitely.
Yeah, everyone listening now is just like, where's that just come from? We were just going from what we were just talking about instantly to talking about police brutality and this new guy. So just so you know, guys, what Michael's brought to the table, what he wants us all to talk about at the Elite Thinking Club is going to be on next episode. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to get more facts, more information, and Michael's probably going to present it a lot more. So we will go into it on that. So Michael, that's cool. Thanks for bringing it in, because then it lets them know what we're going to be doing next time.
And the other guy is called Keenan Anderson.
Okay.
So he's another black guy that got killed by police. When he first got killed, they were on Twitter.
Got killed twice.
Well, when he got killed,
Yeah.
all the Twitter headlines was black guy killed by tasing for asking for help. That's all what the Twitter said. That's all what Twitter was running with. But the facts are, there are a lot more facts involved than that. So make sure you look into it.
Okay.
Because there is more of a story in it.
So next week's episode, we're talking about what are the guys' names?
So Tyler Nichols, that's the one that got killed by 5 cops.
Yep.
And Keenan Anderson.
Okay, cool. So guys, when you're tuning in next week, that's what we're going to be talking about. If you want to go and do a bit of research now on it, just so you can have a view on it, an opinion on it, and comment on it, that's cool. Liz.
But one thing before we go is some exciting news that NASA's just announced. They've just found a 140-mile wide rock in space that is worth $10,000 quadrillion. So they're sending a NASA rocket out to look at it, and if we can mine it, the amount of stuff we get from it is worth that much money.
Jesus Christ,
because
really?
It's got gold and titanium or loads of these other things on it that we can then mine and bring back to Earth and actually make some stuff with it.
Oh.
Well, that is exciting when explained like that. I mean, it sounds great. You know,
yeah, it is.
How though?
Yeah, like I said, 140-mile wide rock.
How can they find a rock and be like, yeah, we can make 10 trillion, quadrillion, whatever? Like, why is it always come back?
The first thing they think about as well. You know, when you watch, when you watch Avatar, and you see them go and like invade the indigenous, when you go and see, and they're just thinking, under that tree is this little worth, I don't know, 10 billion a kilo or something. It's just like the first thing you think about, man. Like, why not just think that could be the first thing to, I don't know, just, do we need more of it?
Yeah.
Why can we not just fix home first? Like, who knows? We'll go into it when it happens, Michael. When it happens, if it happens, because for all I know, sometimes some headlines, I swear to God, just come out of nowhere because they know that people will read it now, get excited about it, but forget about it in a week or two. So, distraction. Which is, again, something that we should talk about on the next episode to do with those two guys, because talking about distraction, some of the things that we've talked about tonight should still be talked about in your households openly, without any bias, without being shut down, without being told that you're crazy or a conspiracist. We should keep on talking about it, because this whole podcast started because of it, and we've been talking of now carrying on with our thinking and consciousness expanding for the last 2 years, and we're very proud people about it. And we're glad that you guys are here with us. So for all those that have joined us and still staying steady with us, we love you guys. Like, we can't thank you guys enough, and we're so happy that our vibe attracts our tribe. I'm
so thankful for you setting this up, Jules, because you kept me sane. You saved my sanity, saved my soul. All of the people that I've met throughout the past 3 years in the freedom fighting, the protesting, the elite thinking club, it has completely kept me sane and saved my soul. And I mean that from the deepest depths of my entire being and heart, because I literally was going around. I wasn't being heard by certain friends. I was being shut down. I was being, made out to be crazy. And it's not fair that you can't speak amongst people. You should be able to. And we should be open to debate, healthy debate. And I love that about the Elite Thinking Club. I'll always be a part of it because of that.
Well, I love you for it, Liz, because you're here.
That's part what got me on it.
Exactly. Speech, freedom of choice. Like, we should be able to debate things. I love that you said what you said about Greta. I love that I said my bit about it, and it's like, there's no hate. There's just understanding, open debate, healthy, and it's communication. And this is how it should be.
Yeah.
So,
I don't even mind if I'm wrong. I could say something completely out there and wrong. But if
we
someone
learn
exactly, you have to learn. And the only way to learn is to make mistakes. Like, you fall down, you get back up. That's growth mindset. You know what I'm saying? I love that. So anyway, Liz, Michael, guys, thanks again for being on this tonight. Can't thank you guys enough. You know, we've been here from day. This is our 3rd year going in, and very, very proud. We're at 355 subscribers on the YouTube now. We have started to release our episodes on podcast channels. So if you're driving in your car and you want to listen to one of the episodes without having to go onto the YouTube and watch the video and all that, you can find us on Anchor. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Twitch, and I think Apple Podcasts as well now. So all the links to those podcast channels will be in the description, so make sure you check that. And if you haven't done so already and you've watched this far, hit the like and hit the subscribe button and join the rest of us. And as always, shout out to our viewers, especially on the TikTok tonight. You know, Girl in the Corner, Truth Seeker, I see you. Lollipop, I see you. Thank you so much for being back here. I haven't seen Nini in a while. Hope she's okay. You know, yeah, maybe she is on holiday. Maybe she is. But also, we're only doing episodes every 2 weeks now as well. So just make sure that you're tuning in as and when you can and saving the Elite Thinking Club. So anyway, from myself, Liz and Michael, thank you everyone everywhere. From myself, Liz and Michael, 3D others. Peace and love. Bye.